Welcome to a Hell Clown video guide. Since normal mode clown is not relevant anymore in 2025, this guide will not only cover the differences between normal and hell, but also go over the entire raid from A to Z to be relevant to the people who are not familiar with normal mode, or played it long ago and forgot some things. If you are very familiar with normal mode, feel free to skip the parts that you think are not important for you. However, it is recommended to watch the entire video because advanced details and approaches for various mechanics and patterns will be explained to increase survival rate or maximize damage output. This video will cover gate 1. Links to the other two gates will be in the description when they are ready. Let's first go over some raid systems and which battle items you should use. Raid system. Assigned card suits. This system is only applicable to Gate 1. Since there are 4 players, each player will get a random card suit. Spade, Clover, Heart, and Diamond. You will see it above your character's head. You need to be aware of your suit because there are several mechanics where you will or won't have to do things depending on what suit you have. In any pizza mechanics, your safe spot will always be the one marked by the same suit as what you have. Raid system. Every player gets a gauge of Mayhem. Getting hit by patterns and failing mechs fills up the gauge. If the gauge reaches 100%, you will transform into a clown for some time. This is bad because it's a DPS loss. When your gauge is high, getting hit by more patterns will trigger a delayed cross-shaped explosion on your character. If these beams hit your teammates, it will increase their gauge, so run away. Also, sometimes getting hit by certain patterns will give you a circular Mayhem aura. Don't touch your teammates with it because it increases their gauge. Battle items. Mandatory battle items. Sacred Charm and Dark Grenade. Flex battle items. Atropine or Time Stop. Generally, Atropine is recommended for everything except for Deathless Pulls, and especially for Prog. If you're using Time Stop and Prog, you're basically allowing yourself to make a lot of mistakes, which is not very good if you're trying to become good. So if you're not using Time Stop, you will most likely learn the raid faster, as counterintuitive as it might sound. First Pizza Mech. Sometimes the boss teleports to the middle, sometimes he doesn't. Keep the boss away from the edge to avoid getting part of the pizza in the wall. As soon as the mech starts, glance at your suit and make sure you see exactly what it is, as well as the color, red or black. When the pizza layout appears, scan the circle and find any segment of the same color as yours. If it's not your suit, then yours is exactly on the opposite side. For the second explosion, your segment will be somewhere on the opposite side of where the first was, so start moving there as soon as the first explosion happens. Stagger Mech. The boss splits into 4 and requires stagger on the correct one. There are 2 ways to keep track of the real one. Either target ping him when the animation plays, or just keep hitting him non-stop and look at the damage numbers that come out of each clone. The zeros indicate fake, while the real one will display real damage numbers. Up to 2 purple shields will appear on either front or back or both. Cannot hit purple shields as it pretty much instantly kills you by returning your own damage. For entropy classes, pray the shield is not on your desired side. Otherwise, just hit from any side, left or right. Typically used as an atropine window. You should probably dark the boss as well. Card drop. Depending on your party's overall DPS, it will happen either before or after Stagger Mech. In the current balance state, if it does happen before Stagger, your uptime is below average. He starts dropping card soldiers from above, which stay on the field as adds and require killing. It is accompanied by yellow circle telegraphs that do high damage and give high gauge. Avoiding getting hit by these is a high priority. If you don't kill soldiers quickly, they will get a gauge gen aura, which is in many cases really bad. Kill them fast. Everyone should group towards the boss as soon as it's safe to do so, and aggro adds towards the boss as well. They're all melee. This way the AoE from your skills will kill the adds as you're hitting the boss as well, so you don't lose any DPS. Find Saydon. 4 clones appear in each corner of the map. Very soon after the clones appear at their spots, Mayhem balls start pathing on scripted trajectories across the entire map, doing high damage on impact, giving gauge, and reducing visibility range. The safe spots are hugging the clones. Your clone is at ×3+1 direction. Each clone will show either hearts or stars. You should just remember that you always look away from the hearts in this entire gate, because this is not the only time this type of pattern happens. As such, look away from the clones that show hearts. If your clone shows hearts, ping on the ground and look at the minimap. After the balls disappear soon after, you should position yourself in a way that you're looking away from all pings. There will be either 3 pings or 1 ping. If there is 3 pings, look at the 4th remaining clone. If there is 1 ping, look at any of the 3 remaining clones. After the balls disappear, you will have some time to go towards the middle, and then auto-attack towards the right direction. This is the most reliable way of dealing with this mech, as the bounding boxes of the safe and unsafe directions are a bit wacky. If you're going to look at your own clone, if it's safe, make sure you step away from it some amount, and don't try to do it while still hugging your clone. You will most likely die. Playball. In the current balance state, if it happens before the next mech, your uptime is below average. The boss will start by summoning a bunch of circular yellow telegraphs that will overlap and make it somewhat tricky to see the safe spots. Try to just use all available mobility options to move out towards a space that is completely safe. Then, he will drop 2 big balls, one in front and one in the back. These balls do very high damage on impact. You will most likely die if you get hit by them. They keep bouncing somewhat randomly and continuously splitting into 2 smaller ones until they reach the smallest possible size. After that, they disappear. If the stagger bar of the boss is below 50% at the start of the mech, use Way Sidereal skill to complete the stagger and partially skip the mech, which is a good way to avoid a huge DPS loss by not having to dodge. Has to be used fast enough or else will fail. In the current balance state, it is less relevant due to high overall DPS, but can still happen later in the fight. Another way to deal with this mech is to use Inanna Sidereal skill. Inanna gives you a huge shield, but it's not infinite. This approach will only work if you dodge some yellow telegraphs first, and only then you can safely assume that greeting further damage won't kill you. If you get fully hit by everything in this mech, Inanna's shield won't be enough and you will die. Simon says, you will transform into clowns and will have to occupy a designated spot, which is the same as your suit. The spots always spawn in the same order: spade, heart, clover, diamond, from left to right. The boss will be clapping in the middle, and then he will do one of the 4 available emotes. You have the same emotes bound to Q, W, E, and R on your skill panel. Your goal is to recognize which one it is, but it's pretty easy since the icons are well made. So it's either drop on the ground and wiggle your leg, muscle flex, point finger to the side, or look up and spread your arms. Which one you should press depends on what the boss is doing. If the boss is doing an emote facing towards the players, you must press the same emote. If he's doing an emote facing away from the players, you must press any other emote, not the one that he's doing. He will also do a special pattern at a random point throughout the mech. He will show either hearts or stars, without any emotes. Look away from hearts by pointing your mouse anywhere below and pressing any QWER emote. Look at him if he shows stars by pointing your mouse exactly at his feet and pressing any QWER emote. He will show this special pattern during the first 4 iterations, a total of 5. So if he did the first 3 normally, the 4th one will be special. Failing anything even 1 time will instantly kill you. Guide the card. Another mech that happens at different points of the fight depending on the total DPS. He will either teleport to the middle or do it where he was. He will throw a dice up which will land showing one of the 4 suits. The player who has the matching suit will be the card guider for this mech. He can also stay on the boss and greet more damage before the mech starts. The 3 other players must position themselves in a reasonably comfortable formation a little away from the boss. It is usually done by going bottom. However, if he doesn't do it in the center of the map, and the bottom is too close to the edge, someone must ping a different direction and the formation needs to be done there. The most comfortable formation is a triangle, with the caller matching the card guider going between the 2 other caller players. This is absolutely not required, just desired. Guide each card that floats out of the boss to the same suit player. If something goes wrong, either you have a dead teammate or people overlap on formation, You can use Inanna Sidereal skill and tank the wrong cards. Supports will have to DR anyone who is still imprisoned after the card mech, or else they will most likely die. Find the card pairs. The boss will play the same animation as for the card soldiers drop, but without dropping any soldiers or telegraphs. It's a free DPS window. Then he will disappear. Players should go to their ×3+1 direction, and each is responsible for the 2 cards at the edge of their direction. 2 random players will get marked with a fear debuff right after the boss disappears. This will be displayed as a purple visual effect above your head, as well as a debuff above your mana bar. You must recognize if you get one. In such a case, your suit will be one of the 2 that will have to be found in pairs. You will have to call it out for the team either in text or voice chat. So a total of 2 suits will have to be called out. This ideally has to be done very quickly before the cards flip. Then the cards will flip briefly, revealing their content. This is your time to memorize them. They are all aces, so don't worry about that. Only look at suits. Out of 8 cards, there is a pair of the same suit of each suit. 2 spades, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and 2 clovers. Your goal is to identify the location of suits that were called out by the 2 players who got fear debuff. Then, the cards will flip back, and a random player will get targeted 4 times. After a brief moment, a hammer will strike at a location where the targeted player stands. The targeted player must go directly at a card, drop the hammer, and dodge out to avoid getting hit. That card will be flipped. Your goal is to flip 2 of the same suits in a row 2 times. For example, if the 2 suits that were called out are spades and hearts, your goal is to flip either spade spade into heart heart or heart heart into spade spade. It does not matter which suit you start flipping first. The only thing that matters is that you flip 2 cards of the same suit back to back, then do the same for the second suit. There is no room for mistakes here. 4 cards need to be flipped and 4 attempts are given. Otherwise, players whose pair of suits was not flipped correctly will immediately die. In the current balance state, it is totally possible to complete the gate if only 1 player dies here. It is also possible to complete the gate if both players die, and neither of them is a sub. But this is very hard and will largely depend on the RNG during the last mech. Since this mechanic is very informationally overloaded, I decided to also include a commentary segment where I basically go over the mechanic and show you step by step what is happening in a more kind of like live format. So at the beginning, he's gonna do the same animation as for the card soldiers drop, but nothing is happening, no telegraphs, no cards, it's just a free DPS window. You should go to your position early, like I do, to play for the clear, don't greed too much. You can already see the first mistake, because my party number is 3, you can see it on the left side, and I should have gone top left, because it's ×3+1. But I go to bottom left, good adjustment on the gunslinger part. But you can see that as we're going, you can already see the wild soul is getting fear, right? I am not getting fear. The gunslinger is also not getting fear. And the artist is getting fear somewhere else, somewhere on the right side. So those 2 have to type their suits in chat, and the artist does that. He has H, so he types H, heart, right? And the wild soul doesn't, because he apparently got a little bit lost. That's fine. But anyway, by this time, you see how the cards start flipping? By this time, both letters should be in the chat, and you should already be aware of which suits are typed. Then the cards flip, and you must memorize what's inside. Since I know that it's H and S, even if he didn't type S, I still know that it's S, because I'll tell you why in a second. So I look at my cards, it's diamond and clover. So I know that my cards are not going to be used. So I just go towards the middle and look at the target. The Wild Soul gets first target. At this point, some cards should be pinged. Like if I got a spade or a heart anywhere here, I would have pinged it. The reason why you want to ping the first target is because sometimes the player who gets the first target didn't see any useful cards and they have no idea of where to go. So if you see any useful cards immediately after they flip back, you should ping at least something so that people know what options they have, right? But this Wild Soul did see that he got fear and he did see that this is a spade, so he's doing it. And he types it in chat, so now we know that he's doing spade first. And now, this gunslinger knows that the spade is being done first, so he pings his spade that he saw. And now we know that the second card to be flipped is this spade. And then, the other two guys who saw hearts ping the two hearts, so we know that these two cards are to be flipped next. And yeah, so this is exactly what is happening right now. And this is the end of the mechanic. And if you're curious about how I knew that it's spade and heart, despite only heart being typed, I didn't look at the fear here, so I didn't know it. But I looked at myself, and I see no fear. And I also looked at Gunslinger, probably somewhere here. Yeah, I was looking at the Gunslinger, I was looking at myself. Since Clover and Diamond didn't get fear, it means that Spade and Heart got fear. But this is like an advanced thing, because when you're newer, you're gonna be so informationally overloaded, you should not be doing any of this type of thinking. You should be just following the sequence that I gave you in the guide, and that is like the easiest way to learn how to do it. And then later on, you will not only be able to like be very flexible in like understanding which suits got feared and which didn't, you will also be able to go like, you see how here I go right in between my two cards, so I only see my cards pretty much. I can barely see what's on the top. Like in the moment, it would have been unrecognizable to me. And I can maybe see this one, but you can actually go like here or even in the middle of the entire arena and like memorize a lot of cards. But that is again advanced thing. As you continue playing Clown, you will learn how to do that eventually, maybe not. But for now, just stick to the exact sequence that I gave you in the guide and you will be okay. Roulette. The curtain drops and the boss appears in the middle. There is a roulette on the ground. Each player gets new suits assigned to them, so check what your new suit is. The roulette has 8 sections, 1 regular and 1 dashed for each suit. Your newly assigned suit could be regular or dashed, so keep an eye on that. Your only safe spot is the one that matches your assigned suit exactly. So if you got a regular spade and you stand in a dashed spade, you will die. The roulette will spin very quickly and then slow down. You have just a few seconds to find your safe spot. Go into it and wait for the explosion. This will happen 3 times. Each time your suit will refresh. When the roulette spins, a bomb is summoned that has some insignificant amount of HP and needs to be killed. If not killed, it will wipe the raid. After the 3rd explosion, with a few seconds delay, the inside will explode doing nearly lethal damage. Depending on your class, it could be a one-shot. So move out. Overlapping save spot, the last mech of the gate. He will disappear and 4 suit save zones will appear in the corners of the map. The layout for each player is different. Only one of the 4 is the same. That one is the safe spot. There are multiple ways to figure out which it is. spin away and breathe flame in front. Also, a bunch of flamethrowers will appear randomly, pointing towards the boss, and a few flame rings will fly around. Usually, the back is relatively safe. The aggro player can control the direction of where the boss is spitting flames after the initial spin. Can be used to direct the danger zone away from other players. Sub should DR in the back or danger ping if the DR is on cooldown. DPS should not stop doing damage as it's relatively easy to find a safe spot or just tank with support care. If you get hit by flame, it might leave a stack of burning on you. This can be cleansed by your teammate's sacred charm. Triple flamethrower spin. Summons 3 flamethrowers that spin clockwise. It is scripted and the left side on the boss's back is always safe. DPS should not stop doing damage. Rainbow lasers. Summons laser beams that go either parallel or perpendicular relative to the boss's orientation, nearly map wide. Alternating safe zones. Can happen either 1 or 2 times. If the second time happens, the direction alternates. DPS should not stop doing damage. Card tricks. The sound cue is time for some card tricks. Charges up and starts spinning following a player, doing massive damage on the inside. The cards that are flying outwards also do high damage on impact and give a lot of gauge. DPS should stop doing damage and focus on dodging. Special delivery. Boss AFKs for a bit and summons the slot machine. It will either drop a random suit ether or turn into a time bomb. The bomb should be dodged and the ether should be picked up by the player with the same suit, which significantly reduces their gauge. Even if you have low gauge, you should still pick it up because if a wrong player picks it up, it gives everyone a lot of gauge. Since the boss is moving around and everyone's trying to stay on him to maximize their DPS, it is important to pick it up or else someone else will either take it on accident or will lose DPS uptime due to intentionally avoiding it. Red or yellow ball spin back. Pulls out a ball that is either red or yellow and punches it a few times. Then spins back doing whirlwind that does nearly lethal damage on the inside. Once stopped, will slam and create an either X or a cross shape attack that does damage and knocks you up. If the ball was yellow, the shape is cross. If it was red, the shape is X. This should not matter though, because the overlapping safe spot is always on the slight right back of the boss. DPS should briefly stop doing damage to dodge the whirlwind and then continue. The boss will then disappear and slam down from above with a yellow telegraph. After landing, a wave spreads around, doing damage and knocking you up. Jump in immediately after the boss lands. Backflip teleport. Disappears from the map with a backflip, continuously summoning a bunch of circular damage zones on the ground. Afterwards, throws a bomb which has a yellow telegraph and lands back. Jump forward. Jumps forward doing non-telegraphed AoE damage on the landing spot that also knocks you up. Pigeons or birds. Disappears and then teleports into a specific spot relative to the orientation of the targeted player. For the targeted player, if you just stand still the entire time, he will teleport behind your back. If you move immediately after he disappears and lock that direction, he will teleport in front of you. If you move a lot during this pattern, it becomes nearly impossible to predict the location. Even in that case, it is still easy to dodge. When he teleports, he will release a bunch of birds in front of himself that fly a bit forward and then split into right and left, doing a circle and flying back to his back. Immediately after the teleport, the front is unsafe. If you tank all the birds, you will die. If you get hit by a bird, it will also stun you, which can be cleansed with a sacred charm. At the end, his back on the left side is unsafe, but on the right side, there's a tight safe spot. The sides are always safe. Fear laser. Charges up and shoots a laser starting on either side and going approximately 180 degrees to the other side. You should stand in his back towards the side where he initially points the laser. Getting hit by the laser will do some damage and fear you, which can be cleansed by sacred charm. You can also spacebar through it on the right timing. It will still do damage to you, but it will not stun you. Double or triple charge forward. Charges at a targeted player and performs a series of front attacks that do high damage. After that, disappears and teleports in a different location, doing the same thing again. It can happen one more time. Good players should be able to upkeep the DPS uptime during the parts where the boss is still on the field. Fart. Charges up and farts either in a cone shape behind or in a full circle around the boss. Gives some gauge. Counter pattern. Charge forward. The boss requires a counter, and if not countered, will charge forward doing moderate damage and knocking players on his way. Then, we'll do a cone shape attack at his back that also knocks you up and does even more damage. Counter pattern. Riding the ball. The boss hops on a ball and requires a counter. If not countered, will quickly follow the targeted player spitting flames in front. Coming in contact with the ball itself does very high damage. Flamethrower does high damage. The targeted player should try to run away and outrun the flamethrower until it ends. At the end of the pattern, he will launch his ball backwards, which also does very high damage. Targeted 4-side flames. Locks on one player, creates a cross-shaped targeted telegraph that follows the player and gradually fills up. The goal is to not move it around too much, fix it in place, and jump out right before it's about to explode. Right before the explosion, the telegraph stops following you, and the timing is generous. There is another variation with 3 cone-shaped telegraphs instead of 4 straight ones. Same approach to dealing with. Targeted cone-shaped waves. Locks on one player, sends cone-shaped waves that gradually spread forward. Subsequent iterations will continue to follow the player, so the goal is not to spin the boss too much. Can have 2 or 3 iterations. Summoning turrets. Periodically, 2 turrets will jump into the map near the boss. They need to be killed quick because they start spitting flames, which does damage and gives gauge.